I asked him first, and I asked him if he knew who Moors were, and he was like, Moors? Like he corrected me type shit.
Right.
And he says, yeah, I heard about it. And then we got to talking about like diplomatic immunity. And he went off on some other shit about some dude he arrested that he didn't want to contact the consulate because he was like hiding or some shit.
Right.
And then he went off into like Freemasons. He's like, yeah, they're kind of like the Freemasons, blah blah blah. And I remember he really didn't like the Freemasons. I don't know why. He didn't give a good enough reason. It's probably because they're all his bosses. But there's like protocol they have to follow when they arrest certain people. They got to contact certain people. But he was like, I don't give a shit who you are or what you say. If you're doing something wrong, I'm gonna arrest you. You know, that's all cops. They're entry-level court workers. They don't give a fuck. They arrest and let the courts do the shit. But he understood too, because I would always argue him like probable cause laws and shit like that. And he's like, I don't give a shit, because he knows what you have to do. You might be right, but it ain't his problem. He knows that you have to go through the courts.
Right.
And that's what deters people is the hassle. Yeah, you might be right, but you know we'll make these fines just enough to piss you off, but not enough to make you pursue it. He do.
Right.
He do Moors. He knew all about them. I would say all about them. He just knew they existed. Somebody did. He didn't really say much, but he did acknowledge them.
The way he talked about the Masons and he talked about the Moors, did it seem like he actually had respect for Moors that didn't break law?
No, we didn't get that in depth about it.
I mean, what was the energy like when he spoke about Moors versus the energy towards how he spoke about Masons?
It was neutral. He had more negative energy about the Masons, and I honestly think it's because he's not one. A lot of his work gets undermined. But he's a tow lot cop. He's not even a regular cop on the street. He ain't arresting nobody. He's trying to dig in vehicles, trying to find evidence.
That's why he's.
But he's a redneck from up north. He shouldn't even be a Milwaukee cop. You'll say he's from up north, from Stanley.
Even knowing the difference between Moors and Masons, him having more of a negative reaction towards when speaking about Masons, would that kind of lead you to believe that he also knows that Masons are using Moorish information to be who they are?
I don't think he was that intelligent. I don't think he is that intelligent. Because he's one of those, I'm telling you, if you met him, he's a redneck. He's real weird. Like, I think he's a serial killer. And I be telling him that. Because he reminds you of a serial killer.
Just gotta catch him in that whole thing that's going on right now.
Oh, guess I wanted to call you the other day. Motherfucker came in with an MSO. He's like, look at this. A manufacturer statement of origin for the vehicle?
Right.
Yeah, dude brought in one.
Yeah.
And they try to act like they don't exist?
Right.
He brought in one. I was just like, look at this. It's an MSO. I was showing people, I was like, you know how cool this is? They were
so
like,
he
what?
actually owned his vehicle.
It was a dealer. Because it was a dealer car that got towed in, but they got it brand new. So when the dealership gets it brand new, they get the MSO.
But mainly those,
and they title it from there.
Those get kept at the factory. A lot of times,
and it said on there, this is acceptable in all 50 states.
Right.
It was neat. It was kind of like a title. It was a little smaller. But it broke it down where it was built. I mean, it was dope. And I got a copy of it at work. I should have saved the account number.
Certificate for the car.
Yeah, the manufacturer statement of origin. That just goes to show you your certificate of title is bogus.
Yeah.
And I should have. I wish I remembered that fucking that account, because I could have printed it and show it to you. I've known about MSOs for a while. It's not a manufacturer statement of origin. It's something else.
You knew about that certificate of origin. You knew it existed.
I think it is a certificate of origin. No, it's not a certificate.
We'll just call it that right now.
It was called something else of origin, and I knew it as an MSO, manufacturer statement of origin.
Right.
But I never seen one.
Right. and most people have it. And most people will say it don't exist.
Or when you ask, they'll
say, well, it don't leave a factory, so what difference do it make?
Nah, that's bullshit.
We could use this, and that's good enough.
Because you have to bring in proof of ownership to get these vehicles, and because it was never titled, you know, it was a fresh new car, and it was a 13 too, so it's been sitting on their lot for a while. But that's what they had to bring in. And I just instantly went back to, this is my early studies, just the law shit. And how it proves that you're actually registering that vehicle. It's not real. You're signing that title over. Your property.
Then I listen.
And I think if people see one, like,
see,
look, they exist. See, it's the hassle. That's the whole point. He says, what, you think you want them traveling dudes? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, use the word travel. It ain't happening. Because you still getting arrested. And he knows, yeah, it says in the Constitution, you have the right to travel. You damn right I do. But he ain't the one you got to argue with. If he don't take you in, he ain't doing his job. And that's all he's doing. He is the witness. They're showing him videos. Because then he went off into sovereignty, and that's when I shit on him.
Right.
I said, look here, dude. Sovereignty's not a contract. It's not paperwork. I ain't one of them dudes. It's autonomous. I know what sovereignty means. You know, he kind of changed his tone. And, but they're showing videos. They said they've been showing them videos because people are believing in it. They're acting sovereign, but they're doing it in the wrong capacity, and they're actually fighting, like they're like violently fighting
citizen.
Back. It's all in status correction. Who do you correct it with?
So right
how
now,
do you correct it on your birth certificate? And so that was a beautiful thing to see.
All this is meant for you to see. You were the energy
Glad I seen it. Well, we didn't have it for a year. I'm saying it's been sitting on their lot. The owners had it for a year.
Right.
It was a 13. You would think a 13 would have been sold.
The owners never seen that paper before, have they?
Nobody's seen it.
See?
I seen that. I was like, ain't this a bitch? They do exist. So much of that Satan shit, the bringer of light. The more you read,
he becomes the good guy.
Yeah, I know. But my soul just can't be. It's just like,
because
you know,
it's what
I'm not religious.
We've been
I'm not. But I have a conscience. I'm cursing myself for the future. And if you go off of Christian scriptures, this is exactly what they say. You know, the false prophets, you're going to be reading. It's like, damn. But, you know, I've read it. And then, you know, especially if you start getting into Freemason shit and all their quote, paganism. Some of their symbolism. It goes to that satanic shit. But it's like, well, what books are you reading? Like I said, man, it's so hard to read. It's so interesting, yet just feels like you're doing something so wrong.
Because it goes against what you were taught. Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, that's really
and the thing, you wasn't even taught it.
Not really.
You just kind of based your everything around what you thought to be true.
With everybody else.
Kind of blending in with everybody else. Right. I'm going to take from this part of the foundation and that, because this all makes sense, and I'm going to run with that.
I mean, even if you're not a religious, and not by any definition, a religious family, because we weren't. It's just what you.
But here's the thing.
Everybody else instills.
Once you realize that the whole name Jesus is actually synonymous for the word justice, it changes your whole aspect of what you think religion is. Your religion is knowing the law and obeying the law. That's what your religion is. Period.
Yeah.